When I thought up this run, I kinda wondered to myself, hey, why aren't there more challenge run videos of Shadowkeep? I figured it out pretty quickly, actually, and it's that Shadowkeep actually sucks. So there's that. And the whole, you have to make a whole new character if you ever want to replay the campaign. You know, not that that would ever be an issue, right? But I did do the run anyway, so here we are. Quick primer on the rules if you're new here. Whenever possible, all damage must be dealt via melee attacks, which are the unpowered melee, the powered melee, the glaive melee attack, and sword attacks, even the caster frame heavy attack. I also allowed the use of well, because I was doing this on Warlock and I wanted the survivability, but no other supers did I allow. Then, quick recap of how we're looking after the melee-only Witch Queen run, the first run of this series. We've got most of the tech we're ever going to have, with our glaive and our caster frame sword, and the drip isn't too bad, if you ask me. But, pending any weird changes, we're not going to see a lot of upgrades into the future. So we're all set to jump into the first mission of Shadowkeep, a mysterious disturbance. And then after I launched it, I remember I could also switch over to healing grenades, because I'm intelligent like that. However, for everything I can't stand about this DLC, especially compared to the newer ones, even Lightfall, I just love how in this opening cutscene, Eris is like, you know that place where I lost everything that ever mattered to me, and I had to replace my eyeballs with hive balls just to, like, survive? Let's go hang out there for a bit. You know, that's smart, that's fun. But, Mission 1 starts with us heading to the moon to do some bonking. We introduce a few hive to our glaive before heading out of this opening area to this little ritual area at the front of the Scarlet Keep. I am a menace here, mostly to myself, because I just keep taking down these hive knights so I can steal their swords and sword fly around the place. Eventually, the blueberries, mostly, and I take down the Shrieker in front of the portal, and I proceed to Sorrow's Harbor, which proceeds to become my personal hell for the next 10 minutes, as I then go to jump and stab the Shrieker with my glaive, instead of doing anything else that would be intelligent. I do love how funny it is to me that the Leviathan is just kind of floating in the skybox during all of this, you know, completely ignorant to the fact that this campaign is 5 years old and the Leviathan was not there then. I bag the Shrieker once I take it down, before I head into the Scarlet Keep, and then into the tunnels below it. This room, with all the thrall, might be my least favorite part of the whole campaign, because I got lost in it a lot, to the point that I accidentally walked out of the front, or that I came in thinking it was the right way to go. Eventually, though, I do head in the right direction, before coming face to face with the Pyramid Ship. And say what you will about any campaigns, anything that Bungie's done, goddamn, they have nailed these visuals in all of these DLC. I square up with Crota, faring a lot better than I probably should have, before Eris ruins my attempt to 3v1 the Nightmares by teleporting me out, and thus I finish the first mission of Shadowkeep. We briefly discussed this with Eris before I begin a small tradition that will last the whole run, going to play the tire game. I kid you not, every time I came to talk to Eris, or I was just like in the area, I played the tire game. And well, I'll let the montage speak for itself.
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it! 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 Aw, dang it!
And then head off to the Hellmouth to begin the next part of the campaign. In Search of Answers is Mission 2 of Shadowkeep, and it involves doing Altars of Sorrow. Honestly, I think that is the only way this mission can be finished, because I was not going to search for an alternative way, because I guarantee you it would not be faster. Plus, with some blueberries in the region, it did go faster than I had expected, which isn't saying much, because they were also taking down the hive. I then stand on top of a rock to call Eris with my insights before the mission ends. I'm beginning to see a small pattern here with how quickly these missions end. However, we return to the Sanctuary, talk with Eris, play the tire game, and head off to cleanse the Essence of Despair, which I kid you not, involves just doing activities on the moon. My pro-level speedrun strat for this was the Toland patrols in this area, because they're fast, and I like Toland's character. I find him funny. We return to Sanctuary, play the tire game, and return to Eris for our first piece of Dreambane armor, which allows us to hunt down the Nightmare of Omnigul and begin the next part of the campaign. The next mission is Nightmare Hunt Anguish, wherein we track down the Nightmare of Omnigul, both for revenge and for leads on how to enter the pyramid below the moon's surface. As far as missions go, It's not a complex one, and mostly just involves me waiting for the immunity phases to go away so I can beat the crap out of her. The nightmare falls, and I finish the third mission in Shadowkeep. The next phase of the campaign is the Scarlet's Keep strike, and I loaded into one that was like half done already, which was a blessing because I really don't like doing strikes. This one is one of the ones I don't mind that much because it's really fast, and I tried my best to be helpful as the blueberries and I charged through it. As we mount our assault on this keep and ascend, the blueberries and I share a bonding moment, as they do all of the work in the elevator, and I just pose fashionably. Finally, one dances back at me when we're in the last portion of the elevator, and we go to confront Hashladoon, daughter of Crota. Much like Crota when someone would remove their Ethernet cable back in the day, Hashladoon falls with ease. I attempt to teach the blueberries a thing or two here at the end, before traumatizing them by throwing myself off of the tower. We return to the sanctuary to find someone else playing my favorite slot machine, before doing the best part of Shadowkeep, the step where it just makes you do 3 bounties. This actually posed a bit of a challenge, because there are a surprisingly small number of bounties you can do in a melee-only run, so I had to re-roll the additional bounties a bunch just to find one. I was scared here, actually, that I would get soft-locked by bounties of all things, but I just decided to gamble some more to take my mind off of things. After more time than I would admit, just re-rolling bounties and playing the tire game, I delete a bounty I actually could have done, just to get a third bounty that required melee kills, and thus cleanse the essence of anguish, and finish step 8 of Shadowkeep. Going back to Eris, I play the tire game yet again, and somehow managed my worst result yet, because I somehow managed to wedge the tire back into its little spawn location here, and it wouldn't come back out. As penance for my sins, Eris forces me to keep doing Shadowkeep activities, and sends me to fetch another Hive relic for her. Beginning the In the Deep mission, I descend a lot farther into the Hellmouth than I've ever really gone, except for when I used to try to solo the opening to Crota's End, back in D1, because I didn't have enough friends to do raids with. Diving past my trauma, stand on this plate for a lot longer than I need to, and then I get jumped by a bunch of Hive wizards who are not happy that I'm here to steal their religious relics. Strange. Is this how the British used to feel? Anyway, I clean up the wizards, yoink their thingy from its weird floating chamber, and do a mad dash out of the hole I've dug for myself, by doing a mad dash out of this hole I willingly entered, thus finishing the third mission of Shadowkeep. A return to Eris at the Sanctuary means feeding my addiction, before Eris gives me the toy I stole from the Hive, so I can continue to play dress-up. I then have a nice chat with Ikora, who I deeply respect and have never once insulted, before Eris does her girl boss routine in front of us. Ikora tells me I have to listen to her, so Eris, who I have said many mean and nasty things about actually, sends me to go hunt down 3 darkness-fueled reincarnations of my deepest fears and worst regrets. The first 2 nightmares go the same as the first one did, with little issues. I said, with little issue. Good. The third one, however, scared me a bit. For those of you who don't know, Bungie, with the release of the final shape, added in a quest where you revisit this nightmare hunt while searching for a lost ghost. As such, they've updated the dialogue and added a screen here informing you that this takes place 3 days before the final showdown with the Witness. However, I did not know this, and you can see me visibly reacting when Cade 6 and Micah 10 begin to chime in during the beginning of this 5-year or so old mission. I, in fact, have still not done the mission that you're supposed to do for this, and thus did not know that this was going to happen, and I had to go look it up afterwards, because I was very confused. It was here in writing the script that I found out apparently my Xbox just doesn't properly record the last mission of this entire campaign, after about a minute into it, which was just running to the flag. I, at this point, had just completed recording the whole Beyond Light melee-only run, and thus, due to some mistakes attempting to record that, had to restart the entire character. So, remember that thing I said about needing to restart your character to do the whole Shadowkeep campaign? And the whole, you have to make a whole new character if you ever want to replay the campaign? You know, not that that would ever be an issue, right? Good news! I could just head there right away because I had already done that by accident. Thank God for the small mercies, am I right? So I redid the entire Shadowkeep campaign again. This time, though, I didn't need to record all the cutscenes and dialogue, so I skipped through it, which cut a surprising amount of time off. I played all the way through it, back to the final mission. Right in front of the final flag, I started recording. 18 minutes later, having finished the entire mission, and the rest of the Shadowkeep questline, I stopped the recording, after opening the exotic engram that they give you for completing the campaign. I opened my storage drive, and nothing. No recording, no sign of the recording, nothing at all. So I'll describe it for you briefly. I stabbed the nightmares of Gaul, Fikrul, and Crota multiple times until they were gone. I met the... Yeah, no, you didn't think I was gonna let the recording errors win here, right? I'm gonna introduce you to my hunter now, who has also never done Shadowkeep, fortuitously. I did the run a third time, because goddammit, I was going to show you that I did it. Unlike the Witch Queen run, I'm not letting my Xbox recording issues be the challenge in this challenge run. In fact, I went so far as to actually figure out what hunters use for speed, because I've done this campaign twice now, already once today, and I didn't want to do it a fourth time. By this point, I've got the campaign memorized, and I got my total time in this campaign to under 2 hours. I also just want to say, respectfully, the Buzz Lightyear clone who voices my guardian, the arrogant asshole voice the witness has in this cutscene where they look like me, is the voice I imagine my guardian actually has.
Made it. We have heard your cries for help, and soon we will answer.
Who are you?
Also, the drip here goes kind of hard. Let me know what you think. I think that's fire.
Don't you recognize us? We are not your friend. We are not your enemy. We are your salvation.
And finally, I beat Shadowkeep. Melee only. On recording. And this is the end of this video. Thank you for sticking around to the very end, and if you enjoyed, stick around on the channel by subscribing. I've got more Destiny challenge runs coming soon. As I mentioned, the Beyond Light Melee only recording is already done, and I plan to eventually branch out into some other games once I can afford to upgrade my recording setup. My current method is causing some problems, if you can't tell. So, I'll see you soon, and until then, have a good one.